Good afternoon, Mr. Woolcock here. It's Friday, it's 2:30 in the afternoon, and that means it's time for one thing, our Learning Celebration Assembly for this week. Unbelievably, this is the 11th assembly I've done now, the 11th week of remote learning, and it feels like it's gone pretty quickly to me. I don't know about you, but it feels like time's going pretty quickly at the moment, and before you know it, it's another Friday, another assembly, and time to look at more amazing learning on Showbie. I've had a look this week. I've got some really lovely things to share with you, and I really can't wait to do that. I also just wanted to say really quickly, well done to everyone who's taken part in the virtual school games this week. I know you've had loads of children from right across the school, infants and juniors, sending in their scores and their information to the virtual school games, and earning loads of points for our school. Mr. Stanley is really excited to see everyone taking part, and we've got some pictures as well to share with you in this assembly from people who've been doing some activities at home. Also, quite excitingly this week, I've had an email from AstroPie. Now, those of you in Year 5 and Year 6 might recognise that name, because you actually wrote some code to be sent to the International Space Station to be run in space. I promised you at the time that when that happened, you would then get a certificate back saying what day and what time your code was run, and a map of where the space station was above planet Earth at the time. Those certificates all came in last night, so I'm going to start putting them on the Penpol Times, and probably not today, but definitely by next week, if you go on the Penpol Times, you should be able to download and print your certificate from the AstroPie Challenge if you took part in Year 5 and Year 6. So that's a really exciting thing, and I can't wait for you to all log in and get your certificates, because you worked really hard Year 5 and Year 6 on that back when we were here last term. Okay, I'm going to shuffle that way a little bit so you can see the iPad. And let's begin, as always, with our learning from Year 3. I've got it all on my iPad here. We'll show you on the screen. Let's dive in. So first up, we've got Ada. And Ada has made these lovely 3D pieces of art over the weekend. She made these off her own back. It wasn't necessarily a challenge that had been set by Mrs. Peck, but she's made this lovely flower, these polar bears, and this beautiful bird on a tree seen in the background. I love these because they're really colourful and really creative, and I always enjoy a bit of collage, especially when it's 3D. Ada, thank you for sharing that. It's really lovely to see. Now, in Year 3, they've been reading a poem called For Forest by Grace Nichols. And a lot of the learning this week has been centred around this key text, this poem. So here we've got some writing by Felix. Again, as always, I'll put all of the learning up on Penpol Times so you can read it properly, but I'll give you a little taste of what Felix has written in response to the poem. This poem made me imagine that the forest was a woman, because it said she, in the poem, the woman has long hair, I imagine this might be trees. The woman is also wearing a dress that is the night. That sounds really interesting. Now, I must confess, I haven't read this poem myself, but Felix, based on what you said there, that sounds like a poem that I want to go and read now because it's intriguing, it's interesting, and you've had a good look at analysing the poem, so thank you for that, Felix. Next up, we've got Lily, and Lily's done an illustration for the poem, which is absolutely beautiful, with the birds and the trees, and she's also been looking at some of the words in the poem and the phrases that she's perhaps a little unsure of, and trying to work out what they mean. So here we go, look, we've got letting her hair down. Now that's the kind of phrase that you quite often will hear, but you may not know exactly what it means. So Lily's had a look, and she's found out that that means to relax and really enjoy yourself. Lots of interesting phrases there. I haven't heard of fast eye sun before, but that translates to mean to be blinded by the sun. So being blinded by that dazzling light. Really interesting that, Lily, and I'm really glad that you shared that, because I've learned some interesting phrases from there. Thank you. Okay, Piran's done a lovely illustration here based on the For Forest poem, and you can see you've got the animals, you've got the monkey, the lion, and that beautiful macaw at the top, and that macaw is singing a lovely tune over the top of the forest. Really great picture there, Piran, thank you for sharing. Not so sure about the spider down at the bottom of the tree, if I'm honest. That's perhaps more Paul's kind of thing rather than mine, but very kind of you to share, Piran, thank you. Sabina here has also done an illustration, and she's done a little paragraph of text to go with it. In this forest, I would hear the sounds of the birds, water, howler monkeys, and other animals. I would also hear trees rustling, maybe rain, creatures creeping on the forest ground. What a lovely paragraph explaining the sounds that you would hear in the rainforest. I can imagine if I closed my eyes I could hear all of those sounds, and I feel like I was teleported right there, so thank you for that, Sabina. Maisie here, she's done a mind map of sounds of the forest. So you've got lots of lovely things here, from the gushing waterfall, the cricking crickets, the howling wind, the whispering wind, some lovely descriptive words there and some lovely phrases that she could then use perhaps in her own writing in the future. So Maisie, that's really lovely, and the illustration that goes along with it is beautiful as well. Now, moving on to some maths learning in Year 3 this week, we've got some learning from Myla, and Myla has been looking at capacity. So we've got this activity sheet here, and you can see Myla's been filling out all the answers and doing a great job of it by the looks of it. So well done, Myla. Looking at comparing capacity, looking at litres, millilitres, all of those sort of things as well. So fantastic work and well done. Amelie has written a poem here, and it's called What Makes a Hero? I'll put it on the Penpol Times because it would be lovely if you read this. It really is a beautiful poem, Amelie, and thank you for sharing it. I'll read the first paragraph to give you a taste of what she's written. You might think a hero wears a cape, tied around their shoulders with a bit of tape. Superpowers like flying high, who never feel the need to cry. I wonder where the poem goes from there. Go on the Penpol Times, have a read after this assembly. It really is lovely, and again, thank you so much for sharing that, Amelie. It's beautiful. Okay, you've got a couple of pictures now from the virtual school games. So we've got Miles, and Miles, first of all, was doing some bowling. So one of the activities earlier in the week was to find some objects to make bowling pins around the house and to see how many pins you could knock down. So in the top picture there, you've got Miles using some plastic bottles, doing a nice bit of bowling, looking to get a strike there, I think. And then underneath, you've got the target practice, where you had to find a bowl or a pot, and you had to try and get the ball into the target from a distance away. Well done, Miles. Great to see you engaging in the virtual school games, and I hope you had fun with the other activities as well. And we've got Zach here. Zach has been doing some athletics. This is the standing long jump. So you can see on the first picture there, Zach has measured a starting line, and he's bending his legs ready to spring as far as he can. And there, look, you can see he's measured it. But what I love about that picture, Zach, I really like this, is that you've obviously had more than one go, because there's at least 4 markings there on the floor. That tells me that you've actually decided, I'm going to try and do better than I did last time. And you've done that a few times. So you've had a few practice goes to get the best distance you can. And it looks like you've jumped a really long way there. So well done, and thank you for sharing that picture. We're moving up to Year 4 now. So let's have a look at some of the learning shared by the children in Class 9 and Class 10. Okay, first up we've got Josie. And Josie has written a newspaper report here called Dancing on Thin Ice. Again, we're looking at global warming, and we're looking at some of the animals that might become extinct because of global warming. Breaking news. Polar bears and penguins are in danger, very big danger, because both the North and South Pole are melting, with the penguins and polar bears are plunging into the water and drowning. All of this because of climate change. What a powerful opening. That is incredible, Josie. It makes you feel a bit like goosebumps, because that's so dramatic. And it really captures the reader's attention, and it demands that you read on. So if you're watching this, go on the Penpol Times, read the rest of that report, because Josie has really, really got some powerful writing there. We've got Ben, and Ben has written a newspaper report entitled Panic for Penguins and Polar Bears in Climate Change Chaos. Some great alliteration there, which you often see in newspaper headlines. Penguins and polar bears are being seriously affected by the effects of climate change in both poles of our changing planet. The burning of fossil fuels, such as oil and coal, and deforestation, chopping down trees and forests, means that our planet is getting hotter. The ice is melting in the North and South Poles, and the animals there are losing their homes. Again, really powerful, really packs a punch, doesn't it, that sort of writing? It really makes you feel, oh, you need to read more about this. So Ben, well done. Thank you for sharing that on Showbie this week. Now, Maddie has written a breaking news report as well. Today in the North Pole, penguins and polar bears both live in the same world. They both live in the sea. They both get their food from the sea, and they are both threatened by what we do in the world. That's a really nice introduction, isn't it? It sets the scene, and then it kind of turns it around and says, hang on, they're being threatened right now. Again, have a read of that. Lovely illustration at the bottom of it. I love the penguins. They're adorable, Maddie. And really powerful writing there. Okay, I think this is the last of our newspaper reports. This one is from Ruby. Is this the end of penguins and polar bears? In the North and South Pole, penguins and polar bears are at danger. Climate change is having a huge impact on their environment. The way we live is affecting how they live. Really powerful start. Again, you guys are so good at this newspaper reporting stuff in Year 4. Really, really interesting, and it really does make you want to read on. Ruby, well done. Okay, in order to plan these newspaper reports, they've done some mind maps. I've got a couple to share with you now to kind of give you a background of how they've written these pieces of text. So Hannah here has done a mind map on polar bears, and she's had to find some interesting facts. So where they live, what they eat, how does it survive in the cold, and then other things like what dangers does it face and how can we protect them. So you'll have a look on there, look, and you can see the most important thing that we will save the polar bears in the long run is to stop the rise of the greenhouse gases and stop the warming of the planet. So Hannah's found a problem, a solution, and she's then used that to give information for her newspaper report. We've got Senan, and Senna's done the same activity. So again, look, we've got information about what they eat, where they live. Polar bears have 2 layers of fur and a thick layer of blubber. They have strong noses for hunting. Their paws are good for walking on the ice and swimming. So that tells you how the polar bears have adapted to living in that climate. Well done, Senan. And Sunny here has written again, this time is about polar bears. And climate change is a problem because the ice is melting, and the polar bears live and hunt from their food from the ice. So if there's no ice, they can't hunt, they can't get food, they can't live. Really big, big problems there. And Sunny's done some great research on how to make it better. For example, switching off the light and computer games when you're done. That will then stop the fossil fuels being used to power your devices. Great work, Sunny. Well done. Okay, we've got some poems now from Year 4. Dylan has done one called Save Our Penguins. Penguins are not safe, but you can help. As they slide around, their habitat is melting. As they swim, sea lions are chasing. They dive into the water to get food. People are overfishing, which is a bit rude. They squawk around to find each other because their homes are disappearing forever. Help them. Use your car less. Use fuel less. Recycle. Save the penguins. Really like that, Dylan. Really lovely poetry. Thank you for sharing. Monica, she's also written a poem. I'll read it to you now. I live at the South Pole, along with all my friends, but my habitat is threatened, not sure where it will end. The planet is getting hotter and the atmosphere is warm. Sea levels are all rising and the ice is all but gone. I am an innocent victim of this ever-wasteful world, so I'm begging you to listen and please let me be heard. Do not waste your power and recycle all you can. Cut down your carbon footprint and protect our sea and land. Really lovely poem, Monica. Really, really gets to the heart of the matter, and it's punctual. It makes you really think about what you're doing and how you can make a difference. So thank you for sharing that. Katie has written a poem about polar bears. The polar bear's ice is melting. What can we do? They struggle to find food. What can we do? The polar bears desperately need our help. What can we do? To help, we could recycle and use renewable energy sources. To help, we could adopt a polar bear or we could donate. Please help save our friends and the planet too. Did you know that over the last 30 years, 40% of the sea ice has melted? Really powerful writing again there, Katie. The Year 4s this week have done such a good job with their writing, haven't they? Really, really lovely stuff. Okay, there's no time to hang around. This is our learning from Year 5 this week. So first up, we've got Oliver doing some of the virtual school games, and you can see there Oliver is doing lots of different things. I think perhaps some of this is the dancing, the athletics day as well, and getting out and about in the garden in the sunshine and being really, really active. Oliver, I'm loving the necklace as well, like the Hawaiian floral thing going on. That's a great look, very summery. Thomas has been doing some jumping. Now this is an activity where you have a block in the middle and you have to jump from side to side as many times as you can. And by the look of it, Thomas is doing a great job there, jumping really, really high. He was actually that happy in the photos as well. I've had to put an emoji on there to make sure that we don't share your faces on YouTube, but Thomas was definitely looking that happy, so great stuff, Thomas. Jade has also been doing what the Year 3s were showing us earlier, which was the target throw on the left-hand side and the skittles on the right-hand side. Now, I can't see, the ball is at the bottom of that one, but Mr. Pollard's comment on Showbie Also looks a bit like he's the ball flying towards the Skittles. But you can see there, look, that's an action shot because she's just knocked down that blue one. Great stuff, Jade, and well done for taking part in the Cornwall School Games. Okay, an activity the Year 5s have been doing this week is to take the vantage point, the perspective of an endangered animal, and to write a letter to humans, to mankind, to kind of make people more aware of how the animals are struggling. So there's quite a lot of writing to share now, and I'm not going to read it all. It will go on the Penpol Times though. I just wanted to show you a couple of examples that I was so impressed by this week. So Dominic here has written a letter. Dear mankind, I am a black rhino. I live in Kenya, unusually in scrubland, grassland and bushes. Rhinoceros means rhino and horn in Greek. My lip is hooked to help me pull leaves off branches. And he goes through some more facts before getting to the really powerful part at the end, where he says about all the problems and danger that they face because of humans. Oscar has written one. Dear humans, I am Pandy the red panda. I am red, black and white with a big bushy tail. We like to hang in trees, which is our habitat. Just in case you don't know what habitat means, it means where we live, and you are ruining it. I love to eat bamboo, and I love to sleep in the trees. And that one ends. Please stop killing us pandas and other animals. We've got rights to be on this earth too. Really does make you think. Read the whole thing from the Penpol Times because it's absolutely lovely. He talks about poaching and how pandas don't come around poaching humans, so why should humans go and poach pandas? Henry has written one here from the perspective of this whale. I am a blue whale, and my proper name is Balanotia muscula. Definitely said that wrong, I apologise. You can read it on the Penpol Times and you can have a go at saying that yourself. It's quite tricky. Which sounds quite difficult to pronounce. Yes, Henry, it is difficult to pronounce, especially when you're doing an assembly live to your whole school. Thank you for that. Really, really interesting. Again, we talk about why the animal's endangered from their point of view and the problems they face, and I'd urge you to go and read that because it's a lovely piece of writing, Henry. Thank you for sharing. Okay, Finn has written one here from this rhino. Dear mankind, my name is Bruce and I am a Sumatran rhino. I'm endangered because of the horrible poachers that prey on my family and I. We used to live in other parts of the world, but now only less than 100 of us exist. I'm sad because I don't want to be killed. I was really upset when those horrible poachers killed some of my family. So another quite sad letter there, but it really does make you think that from the rhino's point of view, they're losing their family and they don't want to lose themselves as well. Okay, we'll move on from the quite sad letters now. This is Corin, and Corin has made this amazing structure out of sticks and tape. So you can see at the bottom there, it's like kind of a dome. It looks a bit like the Eden Project, actually, but he's made this 3D dome using all of the things he's found outside in the garden. Really creative, and I like that a lot, Corin. Thank you for sharing. Lydia has been doing presentations, so you might remember for the last couple of weeks we've had some presentations from the Year 5s that they've been sharing on Google Meet and Showbie video chat. Well, Lydia's done one all about the snow leopard. So, why is it vulnerable? Where can it be found? I love at the bottom there the little picture of the snow leopard saying, "Here I am," as if to say that's where you can find me in this photo. But I guess beyond the photo, they live in a vast area of northern and central Asia, including the Himalayan mountains. Really lovely. Do like snow leopards, they're beautiful animals, aren't they? And it really is interesting, Lydia, to read through your presentation and to learn more about it, so thank you. Declan has done a presentation as well about the panda. So pandas are a native of China and are known for being a bear with cat feet, which is, yeah, that's exactly what a panda is. Pandas play an important role in China's bamboo forest by spreading seeds and helping the vegetation to grow. By helping pandas, we're helping to safeguard the broader environment, which so many people and animals depend on. Really good presentation, Declan. Again, with all the presentations, there's a lot more than just these pictures on the screen. There's quite a few, but I've picked a couple to show you on the assembly today. Declan, well done. Great presentation. Finally, for this week, we have some learning from our Year 6s. First up, we've got Corey, and Corey has done this fact file about tropical islands. So he's looked at different plants, he's looked at the islands that make up the area, some of the animals that live there, like the koalas, and there are some fun facts as well. Let me give you a fun fact from Corey's fact file. Tropical islands are homes to many animals, such as koalas, green turtles, Sally Lightfoot crabs, land iguanas, and giant tortoises. A real mix of animals there, isn't there? From koalas to crabs to turtles. Really interesting, and I bet that would be a lovely place to go and visit one day and to see those animals in their natural habitats. Brody has done a fact file on gibbons. So, gibbons are an ape. The scientific name I can't pronounce, so I'm not going to try, not after the last time. And it's really interesting, actually. We've been looking at how many types of gibbons there are. There are about 16 or 17 different families of gibbon. What are they and where do they eat? Now, apparently, they can live for between 30 to 50 years, which I didn't know. I assumed they perhaps didn't live quite that long. So that's really interesting, Brody. Thank you for sharing. Now, Ethan has been doing some art on circles. So one of the things the Year 6s have been doing this week is to draw a page of circles and to make each one into a distinct piece of art. So here Ethan's taken his circles and he's made some into a donut or a pizza, some into a balloon, some into an emoji, some into a pie chart, and just thinking about different ways you can approach the idea of a circle and being a bit creative with what you see in front of you. So great stuff, Ethan. Lola has been looking at caves, and this follows on from Kensuke's Kingdom, where they were living in a cave, and we've got some interesting facts here as well. So caves aren't just a hole in a stone wall. Their unique beauty and their history really benefits the world today. They also have a major role in a healthy environment for both humans and animals. They are also used to keep groundwater from being polluted. Interesting stuff, Lola. Thank you for sharing. Now, Amber has done this lovely piece of art. Again, the Japanese theme is really running through Year 6 this term, and I think when you look at that, you probably immediately feel that that is a scene from somewhere in Japan. The mountain, the cherry blossom trees, everything about it, the colours, really evokes that feeling. So, Amber, I love that picture. Really, really beautiful. Well done. Okay, we've got some fact files now on Japan. So, Imogen has started off. And interestingly, Imogen has been looking at some of the things that you find in Japan, which perhaps you might not expect. For example, square watermelons. Square watermelons are very expensive, over £80. Sadly, you can't eat them, and they're really just for decoration. And if you look at that picture in the middle, that is a watermelon that's been grown into like a square or a cube. Really, really interesting, very unusual. And she's put some instructions there for you to build them, to grow them, yourself. Do have a look at that, and maybe you can make £80 from a squared watermelon yourself. Who knows? Maisie has done some research on Japanese schools, Mount Fuji, and some facts about Japan in general. So, did you know that the Japanese name for Japan is Nippon, which means sun origin, the place the sun comes from? Japan is made up of 6,852 islands. I bet you didn't know that. And the highest point in Japan is Mount Fuji. Really good research there, Maisie. I've learnt something straight away about the number of islands. Thank you for sharing. Okay, as part of their book, Kensuke's Kingdom, they're looking at messages in a bottle. And this week, some of the Year 6s have been writing their own messages to put in a bottle. This one is from Tom. So we've got a message here asking for help and to be saved, and I guess you'd put that in a bottle and throw it out to sea and hope that someone found it so he can rescue you from wherever it is that you're stuck. Luke here has done a map of where he's stuck as well, so if someone finds this, they can perhaps know exactly where to come to rescue him, which is a great idea. And Lily here has written her letter, and she's put it in a bottle as well. I don't know if that went out to sea or not, Lily, but it might be in the future. There'll be a big boat coming to one of the beaches in Hale looking to rescue people. I'm hoping perhaps you've mentioned that it's from a book, so that might be it. But again, really, really lovely to see you going out onto the beach and making this happen. It really does bring that story to life, doesn't it? Which is lovely. Okay, that brings to an end all of our lovely learning that's been shared on Showbie this week. As always, there is just so much to choose from, and I try my best to get as many different people as I can. But again, if I haven't got your work this week, I am really sorry. Hopefully it'll be there next week. The last thing for me to say today is about the Showbie Assembly Challenge. So last week, the challenge was for you guys to invent your own challenge. And I'm going to use some of those ideas over the next few weeks. So this is a weird one because I can't share the stuff that you sent to me last week because I want them to be a surprise. But I've had a load of suggestions from loads and loads of people. And I've got some great challenges now written down for the next few weeks. So starting this week, your challenge is from Oliver. And Oliver has got a challenge for the boys and girls of Penpol School to design their own school uniform. Now, this is not going to be your actual school uniform. I don't think that's going to be changing anytime soon. But in an imaginary world, in a dream world, in a perfect world, what would your school uniform be? What would it look like? What would it have on it? Would it have any cool features? Would it have something completely unexpected and random built into it? What would your school uniform be like? So this is the school uniform challenge. You've got until next Thursday to design your school uniform. Do it however you want. You could draw it, you could do a collage, whatever you want to do. But send it to me on Showbie in the Assembly Challenges area. Same code as every week, I'll put it up there for you. And it would be lovely to see what sort of ideas that you think would be the perfect school uniform. So I can't wait to see what you come up with. Be really creative with this one, get the colouring pencils out, get the pens out, whatever you want to do. And I look forward to seeing what you're going to go for. That's it from me. I hope you've had a really nice week, and I hope you enjoyed the Showbie Learning Celebration Assembly today. We'll see you again next week, and hopefully we'll have some more lovely learning to share with you all. Until then, have a great weekend, boys and girls, and we'll see you next time.